Hello, everyone. Kind of excited about this episode. I'll probably prattle on a bit, but what is this? Disney name tag, name badges, part 6, I think? Probably one of the last ones, and I'm sure I said that last time. But before we get to the name badges, this hat is an official Disneyland and Walt Disney World, I believe, skipper hat from the Jungle Cruise. Huh? How cool is that? And it actually fits my melon, which blows me away. I know what you're saying. It can't be true, Ryan. But take a look right now. I'll show you a picture of the whatever you call it, the logo on the inside of the hat. Take a look. Pretty cool, huh? Huh? Pretty cool, right? Anyway, on with the Disney name badges. So I acquired, at no small expense, this badge. Now this is a original, although slightly damaged, Generation 1 metal badge from Disneyland. Now Disneyland opened in 55, and this badge existed between somewhere in 55 and 58. I'm going to show you a close-up and several pictures here, and we'll talk about the history of this badge. Then we'll go into the office, and I'll show you some of the other badges that I required. Too much of this. That I've acquired here recently, and will continue to acquire. But I think this particular badge, I think, is extremely rare. Well, I believe there's only about 800, which I'll prattle on about in a minute. And then I don't think people are generally parting with them. But anyway, take a look. So here's the badge that I had in my hand. Couple of things. I believe, or I know, this is a first generation badge. And I'll explain why in a minute. But keep in mind, I don't believe originally it would have been quite this shiny. It would, you can see here the brass finish. Someone long ago has buffed it off. And the name Disneyland and all the little flowers would have blue in them. And what attached right here was a number, your employee number. I'll show you a picture. Matter of fact, here, take a look at the picture I'm about to show you, and you'll see an employee number will be affixed there. I'll show you a couple of pictures, and you'll actually see some of the blue that I'm yammering about as well. Take a look. Kind of cool, right? So anyway, in 1955, Disneyland opens. They tasked the Los Angeles Stamp and Stationery Company, known as LASCO, to make these name badges for their employees. And the Stamp and Stationery Company was known at that time, at least, for making law enforcement badges for like Long Beach, LA, probably miscellaneous tokens, things of that nature. But anyway, as I understand it, the first generation badge, which this is, about 800 badges or so were made. By 1958, the Disney company knew that Disneyland was going to be successful, so they entered into an agreement with LASCO, the stationery company, for 2 more production runs of the badge. Obviously, they're going to do a huge expansion, blah, blah, blah. But take a look at these pictures. Generation 2 and 3, there's some changes. The font itself gets a little bit longer, the Disneyland name, and the bolt pattern changes. You'll actually see bolts where the numbers mount. It's now north and south instead of east and west, and there's actually some bolts that mount this logo as well. There's a 4th run that they did in late 59 that I'll try to show you a picture of here in just a second. Well, you know what? Here, take a look. Here's generation 2 and 3. Note the bolt pattern. Okay, so now we're getting into late 59, as I said. There's probably the one last run. But by 1962, the LA Stamp and Stationery Company has gone belly up. They've gone bankrupt. And they begin to transfer to plastic badges, essentially. Name tags become, or name badges, switch to plastic. And you've seen some of my collection, you know, mid 60s. They're sort of elliptical, if you will, sort of a triangle elliptical shape. There's been some question about employee badge number 1. The rumor has it that it was Walt Disney's badge. No one's really been able to confirm that, but they know it was worn by Walt Disney during the opening day rehearsal, and it was actually seen on TV at the 10th anniversary show in 1965. I don't know if the archives have that now, but anyway, I believe this is a highly coveted badge. Let me flip it over here. Oops. You can see the LASCO. See if I can get close enough to. There you go. There's the stamp. And I believe that's closer to the actual color the badge would be. Anyway, it's in my collection. Let's go take a look at the latest and greatest. But I believe this is probably, I won't do much better than this badge. All right. So our first one up is a member of the Little Monsters of Main Street. This is a program that is held during Halloween where they bring, I think it's cast members' kids in for sort of Halloween trick-or-treating, something to that effect. But anyway, this Nicholas is from 2021, and it's Haunting from Home, obviously, because we were in the thick of COVID at that time. I think that's a somewhat rare badge. We've already spoke at nauseum about the original Disneyland badge, but as we move along here, the next new one to the collection would be Helen. This is from the mid-90s, and you can see there's spaces or holes. Once you obtained several years, you get a pin like that, and you would put it in the hole, most likely your first year pin. Our next new one to the collection would be this Disney Fest right here. And the Disney Fest was actually a carnival apparently in Singapore, late 97, early 98, and this was worn by cast members at that time. I think folks from Walt Disney Studios, which brings us to our next two right here, these To Infinity and Beyond. These were worn by cast members at Walt Disney Studios like 1995. I believe there's a blue one and a red one that actually exist as well. Another Walt Disney Studios badge, Tom here, this is from 2009. But anyway, there's kind of one board. If you've watched any of these other videos, you've seen these before. But those couple just mentioned the latest to the collection on this board. Let's move to the next board. So our first new addition on the Walt Disney World board, that's what I call it, would be David here. And this is from the Richard Petty driving experience. The experience itself closed in 2015. I'm not sure of the year of the badge itself or how long the program, I'm assuming several years, but it is no longer in existence. I believe it's a parking lot now. Somewhat rare badge. Next up, it's actually, the next couple are actually from Paris. Lou here is from this year. This is the 30th anniversary of Disneyland Paris, or Euro Disney as it was once called. And if you look at the Mickey Mouse ears there, if you, I guess, cock your head slightly to the left, you kind of see the 30. The two ears, the left ear represents the top portion of the 3, and the right ear is the 0 and 30. Hopefully you can kind of see that. Kind of clever, kind of fun. Next up is Luline, this Club Benevolve, which is really the Disney Volunteers program. Instead of volunteer, it's ears. This is just the Paris version. I'm honestly not sure of the year. The final one here on this board, or second to last, I think, is Elise here. This is a Disney Store badge, obviously, that came out in 2010 after they remodeled the stores. Apparently they got all new badges, but from 2010. Let's see, what else we got here? Oh, Michael, the Matadors. Now this is the Matadors. This was a badge that kids wore in the mid 80s. And Matadors is the marketing admissions team assigned to Disney objectives of rapidly succeeding. Let me say that again. Marketing and admissions team assigned to Disney objectives of rapidly succeeding, which is essentially trying to figure out why ticket sales were slumping. But again, mid 80s. This bad boy here, Disney Quest. This was Disney's attempt at like indoor theme parks. It was open from 98 to 2001. And they had idea of being a theme park indoors in places like Philadelphia and Baltimore. I do not think it was a success since it was only open for a couple of years, but I've got one of the badges. Anyway, on to our next board. So first up on this board, which I call the Imagineering board, because you can see all the Imagineering badges there. But I want to focus on Ken, this legacy badge. And this is from this year. It'll be hard to pick up on camera, but it's got, you can kind of see the sparklies, sort of sparkles. That's due in part to Walt Disney World's 50th anniversary. But the legacy badges, only 1% of cast members actually have received this badge. And they're awarded, I think there's nominations among cast members all the way from the CEO all the way down to someone who's pushing a button, say at the Matterhorn. And some of the categories that you have to get a checkbox in, if you will, dream, create, and inspire. You can see it there at the bottom of the badge. Somewhat rare, I believe. It's in my collection now. Next up on this is going to be Bob, which is the Dolphin Hotel, which is in the bubble at the Walt Disney World Resort. It's one of the many hotels that's there. Just a little side note, you guys have seen the Star Wars badges, but I finally got the red one. If you watch some previous episodes, you'll know in the series here that goes across, the blue, the brown, the red. The red was the one I was missing. Now completed that. But if we come down here, this Disney Wonder, the Maiden Voyage. Obviously you can see August of 1999. This is a badge that was worn by cast members and crew members and press during the Maiden Voyage. And then last but not least is going to be the Disney Channel name tag. And this is from the 80s as well. I think that's the last of it. So there you have it. There's the latest and greatest. As we pull back out, kind of give you we're getting pretty full. I may have to get another magnetic chalkboard. So anyway, there's the latest and greatest on my name badges. I hope you got a kick out of that. I love collecting them, and again, my new favorite, well, my favorite is still the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, the Diana, the Imagineer, but the Disney Medal is certainly the most valuable, and a couple people know what I paid for it. And the Legacy one's pretty cool. But I hope you got a kick out of this. As always, in this world, when you could be anything you want, you be kind, you be humble, and you be forgiving. Thanks again so much for watching. Tell your friends. Have a great day. Bye.